Hey guys, how's it going? So, I'm here to let you know yet another retail giant is now considering banning ammo and possibly banning the carry of firearms in their stores. So, yesterday it was announced that the Midwest retail giant Meijer is considering its policies regarding ammunition and the carrying of firearms. And here's a quote. During the past year, Meijer has made several changes to our policies regarding ammunition, including increasing the age of purchases, said Frank Guglielmi, the Senior Director of Corporate Communications. In light of recent events, we are evaluating our ammunition offerings as well as our policies regarding customers carrying firearms into our store. So it looks like the Meijer company hasn't quite said that they're banning ammunition sales or the carry of firearms, but they're certainly thinking about it. Now look, a couple days ago, we had Walmart. Shortly thereafter, Kroger. Now Meijer. And for those of you that haven't heard of Meijer, this is a huge, huge retail chain in the United States Midwest, including in Michigan. Tons and tons of Meijer stores around. And these aren't just regular grocery stores. These are basically superstores where they have a grocery department, clothing, household goods, sporting goods, everything. Actually kind of similar to a Walmart if you think about it. Now look, where I live here in Michigan, Walmart, anti-gun. Okay, if I don't want to shop there, the next place I can buy groceries would be Kroger, who is also anti-gun. Well, the third and basically only other viable choice would be Meijer. So if Meijer goes ahead and goes through with this, which I'm assuming they probably will, the fact that they've announced that they're thinking about it in light of recent events. Look, you guys see where I'm heading with this. We have to eat somewhere, but we also have to stay true to the Second Amendment and support the Second Amendment, not only with our voices, but with our votes and with our pocketbooks. And I don't know if you guys have been thinking the same thing, but lately I've been thinking, you know what? There's obviously a bigger picture here. One by one, these large corporations are going to stop selling ammunition, stop selling guns, prohibit certain types of carry, and in some cases prohibit carrying a firearm outright. And what this is doing is it's slowly but surely, and lately more rapidly than slowly, trying to marginalize firearms and make it where keeping and bearing firearms becomes on the fringe, and it takes it out of the mainstream. Now look, in the Second Amendment, given to us by God, enshrined in the Bill of Rights, it doesn't say anything about, if the mainstream approves that the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It doesn't say that as long as it's popular. In fact, nothing in the Bill of Rights says that if it's popular and that if it's considered to be mainstream that we have those rights. No, these rights are undeniable, and these rights are, again, granted to us by God, and all the Bill of Rights does is strictly prohibits the government from treading on our rights. Now, look, another argument people bring up lately is, well, these are private businesses. They have the right to, sell to whoever they want and allow whoever they want in their stores. Look, it's a complicated issue, but my short answer is yes, but no. I believe, as a fellow business owner myself, that business owners do have the right, in most cases, to choose who they're going to do business with. For example, if there's a disorderly customer in the store causing a disturbance, most reasonable people would agree you have the right to trespass that person. If somebody's stealing from your store, you obviously have the right to prosecute and kick them out. Things like that. But we can't just completely discriminate against people because they're exercising a lawful activity, because they're exercising their constitutional rights. And I'll give you guys some examples. It would be completely preposterous in this day and age, and I'm glad that it would be, by the way, for a store like Meijer or Walmart or Kroger to say that they refuse the service of somebody because of the color of their skin. Could you imagine them saying nowadays, no blacks allowed in any of these stores? That would be completely and utterly not only irresponsible, but ridiculous, evil, and it would be treading on the civil liberties of people just by lawfully living their lives. There's laws that say that you can't, discriminate on hiring somebody because of the color of their skin, because of their sexual preference, because of their age, many things like that. These are called protected classes. And I understand for many years these classes weren't protected in this country, and they always should have been. And I wasn't alive during those eras, but I would have supported civil rights for all people, regardless of their class, even back then. And I've been supporting civil rights for everybody ever since. Now look, the right to keep and bear arms is a civil right. It's one of our core fundamental rights, as enumerated in our founding documents. So, yes, businesses do have the right, to a point, to choose who they do service with, but I think their rights end when they start infringing on mine and yours. Just like I have no right, and like I said earlier, I wouldn't want to, but I have no right to infringe on somebody's rights because of their skin color, because of their age, because of their sex. And likewise, this works both ways. They have no right to infringe upon me being able to protect myself, for me to be able to exercise my God-given and federally protected rights. So I think this is the bigger issue that's at stake here. And I mentioned, common use and mainstream earlier. Look, the Constitution and Bill of Rights says nothing about mainstream, but unfortunately it's gotten to the point, even in Supreme Court cases such as Heller, which Heller's the case that we like to use to prove that yes, the Second Amendment is still valid. Look, I like Heller a lot. I'm really glad it passed. 1,000 times better than if it didn't. But even in Heller, they kind of weakened the Second Amendment, saying that it protects firearms that are in common use. So this whole common use thing is not just, becoming a social norm, but even the Supreme Court has said that common use. Now, I'd like to see them have another ruling that gets rid of the common use clause, the sporting clause, because you and I know, anyone who truly believes in the Second Amendment, that it has nothing to do with common use or sporting or hunting. It has to do with protecting ourselves, our family, and probably the most important reason they put it there was to stand up and fight off, with force, if necessary, a tyrannical or rogue government. So, we need to do our best to, let these people know, hey, you guys want our business? We are not fringe. We are not a very small portion. I mean, there's supposedly over 100 million gun owners in this country. But it seems like at a very rapid pace lately, they're starting to put us out at the fringe, that we're the minority, that we don't have a voice, that they don't need to worry about us. Well, if there's really that many gun owners out there, we need to stand up and start letting these people know, hey, you want our money? No, we're not going to give money to places that aren't going to let us, exercise our God-given rights. And I'm not calling for a boycott of a specific company. Again, this whole topic's complicated, but I believe people have the right to choose where they want to spend their money, what they want to do. And look, you can be pro-Second Amendment and still shop at a place that wants to take your rights away. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Again, you guys know what you want to do. You guys will do what's best for you, and you'll live with your decisions. But at the same time, I just wanted to bring up this issue that, yeah, they're trying to take us out of the mainstream, and they're trying to make it where we can only, buy these second-class rights. We can only exercise our second-class rights, rather, and buy these things from specialty stores, gun stores, etc. This is another problem. We've had, Operation Choke Point by the federal government, which was a complete and utter disaster and completely illegal. We've also had many credit card processing companies saying they won't deal with gun shops. So, I don't know if you guys see where this is heading, but all the mainstream stores, quote unquote, that sell to the general public for all types of goods, if they all stop selling ammunition and guns and don't let us carry there, not only are our rights marginalized, but it puts it where there's only a small niche sector of the business world that carries these items. And then they could just be a credit card processing rule away from shutting all them down. Or in another administration possibly, like the Obama administration with Operation Choke Point, they could have an Operation Choke Point 2 that's even more powerful and start choking out all the mom and pop and all the online gun shops. I'm not being paranoid, guys. They've literally attempted to do this on paper, and today this is still an ongoing struggle, getting payment processing and banks to give loans to gun shops. So this is way bigger than just, Meijer, Kroger, Walmart, other big companies like this. This is a new movement in this country where they're trying to marginalize gun owners, marginalize ammunition, guns, and once they get us off in a teeny little corner, they can just go through with one swoop, get rid of the financing, for example, the credit card processing, and we may find ourselves in a scenario where we can't even buy guns and ammunition. They might still be legal, quote unquote. We might still be able to have what we have, but anyone who shoots on a regular basis knows that it's easy to go through a couple hundred rounds in ammo in a day, and when you buy a case of 1,000, it doesn't really last that long. If you're actually out shooting your guns, practicing, hanging out with friends, having a good time, training, keeping your skills sharp so that you have the best tools and abilities to defend your family if any kind of danger or crisis should arise. And let's not forget, for us to be able to stay trained, that's where the well-regulated militia clause comes in the Second Amendment, in case there is ever a tyrannical government where we need to be on the top of our game, sharp skills, well-practiced, well-regulated. So, like you guys' input down there, but I'm not trying to be paranoid, guys. It just looks like very rapidly they're trying to just put us in a little corner and make it where owning guns and buying ammunition is not mainstream. And unfortunately, this is where society and the courts are looking right now. What's mainstream? What's popular? So get out there, guys. Call these stores. Tons of gun control coming up soon. Call Congress. Call the White House. And talk to your friends about this stuff. There's a lot of gun owners I've been talking to recently that don't even know what Walmart did, Kroger did, and now what the Meijer Superstore Corporation just did. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.